Welcome back, Focus Learners, to today's Explainer. We have an absolutely packed lineup today, pulling straight from a series of massive global developments that are actively reshaping how our world operates. If you want to understand the macro forces driving the headlines right now, you are in exactly the right place.
I mean, just look at the sheer scale of what's happening. From a jaw-dropping $96 billion tech boom to massive, economy-shifting tariffs popping up literally overnight, our world is shifting rapidly right now, and everything is connected. To understand the big picture, we've got to connect the dots between international boardrooms, shifting climate patterns, and intense geopolitical standoffs.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, geopolitics and global trade. Second, tech, business, and regulation. Third, extreme weather and climate. And finally, health, society, and culture.
All right, Section 1, Geopolitics and Global Trade.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what international friction looks like in practice right now. Escalating their bilateral trade friction, Canada has officially announced reciprocal tariffs against the United States. They're implementing a massive 50% retaliatory tariff, and they're operating on a strict dollar-for-dollar basis. This directly targets $20 billion in U.S. goods. It's a really broad sweep, impacting American steel, manufactured goods, and agricultural products crossing that northern border.
Let's move to and see how this builds in another critical region, the Middle East. Global shipping lanes are experiencing a rapid tit-for-tat escalation. First, the U.S. Treasury Department imposed targeted sanctions on 4 Indian companies, citing their alleged involvement in Iran's petroleum supply chain. While simultaneously, in a direct countermove affecting global trade, Iranian authorities blacklisted 45 international cargo vessels. This actively restricts those ships from moving through the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the world's most vital maritime choke points.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how highly sensitive diplomatic flashpoints are popping up simultaneously across the globe. We aren't just seeing tension in traditional arenas like Moscow airport summits or high-profile Jerusalem detentions. This friction is spilling over into unexpected places, from the U.S. labeling UK activist groups as global terrorists, all the way to severe governance tensions shaking up European football. The data really speaks for itself here.
Moving right along to Section 2, Tech, Business, and Regulation. $18 billion. Just let that massive number sink in for a second. This isn't revenue, it's a penalty. Meta has agreed to pay up to $18 billion to settle lawsuits brought by dozens of U.S. state attorneys general. The core allegation they were facing, that the company actively concealed the mental health risks its platforms pose to children. But, that financial penalty is really only half the story. As part of this landmark deal, Meta is being forced to fundamentally alter its user experience for younger audiences. Take a look at these mandated safety features. Meta must now introduce hard usage caps to limit screen time. They have to implement mandatory continuous scrolling pauses to break that addictive infinite scroll loop. Plus, they're required to set up nighttime access blocks and deploy much stronger parental controls. It's a massive regulatory force shift for social media.
Now, on the complete opposite end of the tech spectrum, we have this absolutely staggering number, $96.2 billion. Semiconductor giant NVIDIA reported its second quarter earnings, and they have literally doubled their revenue year over year. Doubled it! This explosive $96.2 billion figure is being driven almost entirely by the world's booming, insatiable demand for AI infrastructure hardware.
So, the crucial point is that fueling that massive AI boom requires global talent, which brings us to this wild figure, a proposed surcharge fee of $103,265. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has introduced a regulatory rule that would slap this massive surcharge on cap-subject H-1B visa applications. As you can probably guess, this is facing fierce pushback and backlash from both foreign governments and the tech groups who rely heavily on these visas to import highly skilled workers.
All right, shifting gears quickly to Section 3, Extreme Weather and Climate.
These aren't isolated incidents, folks. They are connected planetary extremes disrupting life globally right now. On the Nepal-China border, a glacial collapse triggered massive mudslides and flash flooding. Disaster teams report 160 dead with over 600 tourists and locals still missing, prompting UN relief mobilization. Meanwhile, halfway across the world in the U.S. Midwest, devastating rains and historic river overflows have caused extensive agricultural damage and widespread evacuations. It's led to official disaster declarations in Illinois and Indiana. And then in Central America, the extreme opposite is happening. Severe El Niño-driven droughts have completely crippled regional agriculture and water infrastructure. Panama has declared a national state of emergency, while El Salvador and Honduras are sitting under red alerts.
Finally, let's take a breath and look at Section 4, Health, Society, and Culture.
In U.S. domestic news, a significant legal battle is brewing over the actual mechanics of voting. The U.S. Postal Service recently introduced a new administrative policy that requires strict voter roll verification and envelope standardization before they'll deliver mail-in ballots. Well, in direct response to this new rule, a coalition of state attorneys general has filed a federal lawsuit seeking to block these exact Postal Service requirements from taking effect.
Moving over to the medical field, we actually have a moment of profound hope today. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has officially approved a breakthrough pharmaceutical treatment. According to the data, this new therapy has been shown to significantly extend survival outcomes for patients fighting advanced pancreatic cancer. It is a major, life-extending victory in an incredibly difficult area of oncology.
And finally today, we mark the passing of a true icon. The beloved, legendary English actor Tim Curry has passed away at the age of 80. Cultural tributes are pouring in from all corners of the globe, offering all of us a moment of shared reflection and cultural unity amidst a very chaotic news cycle.
So, from retaliatory tariffs in Canada and shipping restrictions in the Middle East to historic tech revenues and devastating global climate crises, the board is just moving so fast. So I want to leave you with this to ponder. With trade, tech, and climate shifting this rapidly all at once, is traditional global stability a thing of the past? Or are we just witnessing the chaotic birth of a brand new era? Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and keep learning. We'll see you next time.